Morning, everyone. Today's learning is dedicated in memory of Leah Bas Faivel, Rav Yaakov Tzvi ben David Aryeh, Sivia Bas Mordechai, Avram ben David Slavin, Shlom ben Yisrael Morris, and Sephora Fagel Bas Ruben Shalom ben Elali ben Bas Faivel from Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Kayla Bela Bas Henach Yirmiyahu, Yechiel ben Moshe Eliezer Sar, Mauka Bas ben Yamin, as well as the yort sites for today. That's Avram ben Yehuda Atias, Miriam ben Yehuda Halevi Fine, Meir ben Yaakov, Shmuel Halevi Levi, Tafa Abbas Yaakov Murad, Katun Sofer. Wish everyone long life and wish everyone well. So today we are starting the next of our paths to God as described and outlined in Rabbi Sacks' 10 paths to God. And today we are discussing about faith. Okay, so let us read what Rabbi Sacks has to say about faith. I think I should start by stating from the outside that I think very often, if we're honest, when we say the word faith in the society in which we live, I think it's almost become a dirty word. We always have to be apologetic or embarrassed. It's seen as, if something is not rational, is not logical, cannot be justified in tangible terms, then it's seen as something, it's seen as something, it's fluff. It's something light, it's not real. And that is the way that faith has been ridiculed by secular society. So let's read what Rabbi Sacks has to say about it. I think that faith in the current climate has never, ever been more important. So let's have a look. Judaism is an unusual, subtle, profoundly humane faith that challenges the conventional wisdom of the ages. Faith is the courage Abraham and Sarah showed when they heard of the call of God and left behind all they had known to travel to the unknown destination. Faith led more than 100 generations of our ancestors to continue that journey, knowing all the risks, yet believing that there is no greater privilege than to be part of it. Faith is the voice that says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Faith sustained us Jews in the dark days of persecution. It led them never to give up hope that one day they would return to Israel, to Jerusalem, and to freedom. Jews kept faith, and faith kept the Jewish people alive. Faith is not certainty, and this is the point I was making at the outset. It is the courage to live with uncertainty. It is not knowing all the answers. It is often the strength to live with questions. It is not a sense of invulnerability. It is the knowledge that we are utterly vulnerable. And that is precisely in our vulnerability that we reach out to God, and through this learn to reach out to others, able to understand other people's fears and their doubts. We learn to share, and in sharing, discover the road to freedom. It is only because we are not God that we are able to discover God. God is the personal dimension of existence, the thou beneath the it. Just a bit more, the ought beyond the is, the self that speaks to the self in moments of total disclosure. Opening ourselves to the universe, we find God reaching out to us. At that moment, we make the life-changing discovery that though we seem utterly insignificant, we are utterly significant, a fragment of God's presence in this world. Eternity preceded us, infinity will come after us, yet we know that this day, this moment, this place, this circumstance is full of the light of infinite radiance, whose proof is the mere fact that we are here to experience it. Faith is where God and human beings touch across the abyss of infinity. Emunah means faithfulness, love as loyalty. Faith is the space we create for God. I've skipped a tiny bit, but let us just discuss this. I will never forget, there was a recording that was discovered recently about Rabbi Sacks, who we miss so much as a leader and as a mentor. And one of the things that he was asked was when it was, I think it was in September, you may recall that the office of the Rabbi Sacks went public there that he had cancer. And we were all asked to pray for Rabbi Sacks. And a recording was discovered of an interview that he did a number of years ago, in which he was asked about this very thing, about how this wasn't the first time, this was the third time that Rabbi Sacks was struggling with cancer. He had it in his 40s, he had it in his 50s, and now he had it at 70, I think 72, 71, 72. And he was asked the following question, that many, right? Rabbi Sacks wrote over 25 books. He spoke, spoke on thousands of podcasts and videos and messages. So why is it that Rabbi Sacks never publicly addressed the question of faith when dealing with serious illness, when he was dealing with his own trauma of cancer? And what he said, friends, was so telling. He said, because for me personally, there was never a question. There was never the uncertainty. Despite I walk through the valley of darkness, but I have no fear, because you, God, are with me. And God, Rabbi Sacks said he felt that in his 40s when he first was struck with cancer. He felt it in his 50s when he was again struck with cancer, and in his 70s as well. And I think it is a mark of the man, his greatness, that when we are reading about his ideas about faith, it was, of all the areas of his life, this, I think, was the area that he excelled in, and he lived it. He breathed his faith. And I think that speaks volumes about him and what we can learn from him. It's all very easy. The old story that we like to tell, I don't remember who it is. It's an American story about somebody who was able to walk across this grand abyss between, there were two mountains and there was a tightrope in between, and he was able to walk across. And he said, do you think I can walk across? And they says, yeah, go Bill, you can do it, you can do it. And the crowd's cheering him on. And he walks across and he comes back and he's incredible, no safety net, nothing. And he says, do you think I can do it with a wheelbarrow? And they said, yeah, sure, Bill, go for it, you can do it. Sure enough, he walks across with a wheelbarrow. And he says to them, do you think I can walk across this abyss with the wheelbarrow with somebody in? And they all go, yeah, of course you can, Bill, you can do it, you've done it before, you'll do it again, go Bill. And he says, no problem, who wants to be in the wheelbarrow? And that is the test of faith, friends. It's easy to have faith when we're sitting relatively in the comforts of our home. It's harder to have faith when a person is in that wheelbarrow, be it in hospital, right? Which many are in hospital, struggling on ventilators and an oxygen, or be it, for example, when you have cancer or you have serious illness or financial worries. That is when one's faith is tested, and that is the mark of faith. Are we able to hold on to our faith? We don't know how much faith we have until we are tested, right? It's like a muscle that until you exercise it, you don't know what the capability of that muscle is. Let me just read you a tiny bit more. Well, let me just ask you some questions, okay? And let me first say good morning. I'm sorry, exceptionally rude of me. I apologize profusely. We haven't said good morning to everyone, to our viewers today, to Michelle, good morning, to Carol, good morning, to Peter, good morning, Mervyn, good morning. I almost knocked on your door on Shabbos. Good morning, David, good morning, Caroline, good morning, Harry, good morning, Estelle, good morning, Anthony, good morning, Rachel, and of course, seeing Anthony there, a reminder of the fantastic film that Diane, his wife, has put on for the whole community at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Please sign up. It's not too late. It's on Facebook. It's been emailed out, and we look forward to joining them and saying shkech to them for putting it on. It should be fascinating, both the documentary as well as the interview. So a couple of questions from Rabbi Sacks. Is it courageous to have faith in God? And if it is, then why? In other words, if a person knows God, then where is the courage in having faith? right? That's question number one. And these are questions that we're not necessarily going to answer all of them. I think it's questions for us to grapple with, to struggle with, to ask ourselves, right? We don't need, if we ask ourselves the questions now, then we will be able to have know and strengthen our faith so that when we are tested, we are able to just utilize that muscle that we've got. Just a couple more questions, and then we're going to part company for today, finish off, and then we'll leave the rest for tomorrow. Okay. Why did Abraham and Sarah need the courage of faith to do what they did? Why was it faith that they needed to do what they did? Okay. Rabbi Sachs says faith meant that Jews never gave up hope for these things, right? In other words, for Jerusalem and for returning to Israel. Is there a difference between faith and hope? Now, there's a question. Is there a difference between faith and hope? Okay. Okay, one final question. I'm just picking from his list of questions. Though I walk through the valley of darkness, and we are going to say this in a minute, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. During which period of Jewish history could this quote be an appropriate description of the courage to find faith? Have you experienced anything in your life that makes this quote resonate personally? Have you had moments of darkness where you have felt that you are in the valley of the shadow of death, right? And you have been able to say, I don't fear evil, right? I know that you, God, are with me, and I know I'm going to come through this. Have you ever had any periods, or can you think of any periods in Jewish history? Obviously, the Holocaust is one period, but it's not the only period. And in fact, there are many more challenging, difficult periods. I think that faith is tested perhaps more when we find ourselves alone than when we are with a group of other Jews. I think it's easier to have faith when you are with other people than when you find yourself alone and then you're wondering, well, why did this happen specifically to me? Right? When it happens to a group of Jews or it happens to hundreds or thousands, then you say, right, okay, I don't understand why it happened, but you're not asking the question so much about you. But when it happens just to you, when a person, God forbid, is stricken with a terrible illness or terrible hardship, you ask the question, well, I've done so much good. Why is it being thrown back in my face? Or that's the perception. So those are questions for us. We're going to carry on, okay? Lovely, beautiful, crisp morning in Woodside Park. Lovely to be able to walk. Question for you all. I remember in the previous lockdown that we were allowed to walk on Finchley Golf Course. I don't know if we have any golfers or anyone that is a legal eagle here. Can you tell me, would it be legal for me to go to do my exercise today and walk across Finchley Golf Course, which is just behind my house? I can literally walk out my garden into it. That's the question for you. I want answers, like James O'Brien says, with some basis, not just myth, because otherwise I'll be arrested. So let me know your thoughts. We carry on with that very psalm that we were saying before, if I can find it. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Now, the next verse, which we were just quoting from Rabbi Sachs, which is actually from Psalm 23. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life. Now I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Memorial prayer. Adon Olamim Zochoes Nishmois. Avram ben Yehuda Atias. Miriam ben Yehuda Levi Fine. Ben Yaakov Shmuel Levi Levi. Tava Bas Yaakov Mured Katan Safir. Leah Bas Bible, Rav Yaakov Zvi ben David Ari, Tzvi Bas Mordechai, from Ben David Slavin, Shlom ben Yisrael Morris, Per Fegel Bas Ben Baruch, Shana ben Eli Li ben Bas Bible, from Moshe Shana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Caleb Bela Bas Henoch, Yom Yochio ben Moshe Eliezer, Sarah Malka Bas Ben Yomin, Shal Choli Lamon Bagan Eden Temenuch Asam Lachim Bal Rachamim, Yasvim Esechana Pav Yolamim, Yason Sachain Lishma Sabad Nainach Lasam, Yanuchu B'Shlam Shkavam, Ben Amar Amen. Believe it or not, we actually had people on Friday morning that tuned into us, that were watching from Barnet Hospital. So if anyone is there struggling with COVID from Barnet Hospital or from the Royal Free, it's a special warm welcome to you. we are all going to recite a Refuah Shlema prayer, and we have you in mind as well as everyone in the hospitals and in the world that is suffering from COVID and other maladies. And we wish you a speedy and a full Refuah Shlema, a speedy and a full recovery. Mi sheberach avaseinu Rabbi Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarech Ra Pesach Cholim Ba'avo she'anu mispalim ba'avuram bez chazek HaKadosh Baruch Hu yimalei rachum aleihem lachim alafasam yishlach lem Refuah Shlema Shemayim lacholevim b'soch shach Elisah Refuah Sanefesh v'Sugo Pashma Hashtag Bagazmarka Ribbon Amar Amen Refuah Shlema. Please everyone keep joining us. If nothing else, imagine we have people here that are on from Barnet Hospital, laying in bed, feeling isolated, feeling quite alone, and then when they see the messages of good morning and they see the names, it gives them strength. So in fact, you are part of the antidote. You are the Refuah Shlema. You are healing people just by them seeing you, wishing everyone good morning, wishing them a Refuah Shlema, wishing them well. And that's it for us for today. We look forward to seeing everyone later at 5 p.m. for the movie. It is on Facebook. It's on the emails that were sent out from the show. It's everywhere, on Twitter as well. So please sign up and we'll see you all later. Take care and we'll see you later on. Take care, everyone. All the best. Have a great day.